COD champs move back to the fall. How excited are you and the rest of the team at Treyarch for the Call of Duty World League?
I really think everything that we've been doing leading up to this over the last 3 games is really about where are we going, right? And just to be able to work with ESL for the Pro Division across all 3 regions in North America, Europe, Australia, and New Zealand, it's going to be a great year.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, just the way that this league, when we're talking about it going forward, it's going to be involved in such more of a global presence where, there's been a lot of focus here in North America. There's a lot of work to be done when we're talking about Europe and Australia, and I think there's a lot more just from a growth perspective that we can see, and so excited to see where this is going to go. And then, on the screen right now, I know we're still taking a look at this new breach map. I mean, how beautiful is this? I just love how crisp, how clean everything we've seen in Black Ops 3 to date is, and I can't wait to see, let you guys see this new map.
It's going to be fun. We're watching the Ban and Protect phase now. You see that Shiva, we saw one of the players, I believe, was Gun Elite from EU, used it to his advantage last game. Got into the other team's spawn, was able to lock it down. Now it's gone right at the beginning of the
Exactly.
game. So you're seeing the meta develop on the fly just after one map.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it'll be fun to watch again. You're right, because I was talking about it earlier, kind of how this will take an effect over the course of the entire year, entire season. But really, it's more over the course of a best of 5, over a best of 7. Just seeing how people are going to adapt to this stuff is going to be a pleasure. Look at this, first 4 things.
First 4 things gone are ARs.
Wow.
Yeah, and all ARs.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So now you're seeing primary gunfire. That's going to be protected, I believe. That's by the North American side. It's going to be replay. So Study, he actually protects one of the ARs, so he just wants something to play with.
Well, look, they're all smiles. They're getting cocky. Yeah. They're getting too excited. They beat 1 game from North America. Look at the smiles on these guys' faces.
Well, EU is saying, hey, no, we did it with ARs in game 1. Let's just go all subs in game 2.
Exactly.
Let's really throw a wrench in there.
Yeah, this one's going to be truly fun to watch, just so you can see the dynamic change here. Now, what I'm excited to see is, are we going to get some eyes on with Firebreak? I want to see the flamethrower come into full effect here. I know that's what we're all going to be excited for, but we are going to be in this specialist draft phase. Now, Matt, just looking at you, and Jay, I'd like your opinion too, but how do you think it kind of changes when you go from uplink over to hardpoint as far as what specialists you might focus on?
I think for hardpoint, you want to focus on more of the abilities. You want to have more abilities. I think something like Ruin Overdrive, that's probably a good one to pick. I also think, the Vision Pulse by Outrider, that's a good one as well.
Absolutely, right? Anything that's going to give you those advantage on those OBJ points is what you're going to be looking for, right?
I think the way you compromise the team in something like this, you'd probably have, 1 or 2 people with guns, able to just, for when you need to break those hills, when you need to push those hard points.
Absolutely.
And then when you get control, you need to have those abilities, whether it's something like Heatwave. A bunch of players rushing you, the only guy left in the hill, you pop it, everybody's stunned.
That's correct.
You might not be able to kill all of them. You killed 2 or 3, though. It's a huge win for your team.
Well, that's the thing, right? When you start looking at how the abilities and it all works together, it's really about working together as a team and using these things individually at the right time. We saw on the last point with Uplink, maybe they were burning a little bit too early. Right?
Yeah, you saw it twice.
You saw it twice, right? So we've really got to make sure that they're using it at the most opportune times.
At the time. At the right time.
Absolutely.
What we've been seeing players, because they haven't obviously got a real good chance to get in the flow of a 4-on-4 competitive game, is they get it and they just use it right away. I think it's the players that
get excited.
Yeah, they get excited. I got my Annihilator pistol. I got to use it.
I got to use it.
But, look at the last game. Team North America, I believe, Study had his Annihilator pistol, pulled it out in the middle of the map, killed 1. EU pushed their base 2 or 3 times. They didn't have anything like that to really break them out. I mean, Study saves that. He's able to pick up 1 or 2 in the base. Changes the entire game on that first uplink.
Absolutely.
It certainly does. Now, let's move forward a little bit. We've talked a good bit about the Ban Protect, getting into specialists, but let's talk a little bit about why is this edit create a class so important now? I mean, obviously, the way it worked before, you kind of edit your classes before a series, you have to go in. Kind of talk about how it's changed and how much more important it is now.
Oh, well, right. I mean, your favorite gun gets banned. You got to go back and edit your classes.
It's a problem.
Yeah,
it's a problem.
You come out, mitts up, hands out, trying to box people. I don't think it's going to work.
Not going to last very long.
You have a flamethrower. I have my fist. Let's do battle.
But I think it's great, right? So again, we're going to talk about variety, which I think is exciting. So as you're watching this and you start to understand how they're using the Bans, Protects, and the specialists that they're using, it really is going to change dynamically every time you go out to play and you watch them.
And I think different maps as well. I mean, you can edit score streaks as well, as you see on your screen. Different maps are going to dictate different score streaks. I mean, on a more indoor map, you don't want to have like a lightning strike, for instance.
Yeah, well, again, it goes to, before it was just, here's my loadout, I'm going to jump in and go.
Yeah.
Right? Now it's like, okay, what did you do last match? What did you do last round?
Yeah.
How can I better serve my team, right? Do I ban something or do I protect it?
And if you're a team like Team EU coming into this one, a hard point, you're not going to really try and outslay Team North America. Maybe you try and, ban Taskmaster,
Yeah.
force them to waste the ban on their
Exactly.
stuns. So I think
Yeah.
you can do a lot of interesting
Absolutely.
things pre-game
Right.
to sway the game in your favor.
Well, I think also, too, there's starting to be a little bit of a mental game here, too,
Yes.
right? Like, what are they going to pick?
Absolutely.
What are they not going to pick? So, like, you already saw like where they're kind of laughing and joking at each other. I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic as well.
Well, and the part, you talked about diversity. The favorite part about it for me, thinking back, when I first really started to watch competitive Call of Duty, it's all the way back to really Black Ops On. That's when I first started watching. And, it was FAMAS. It pretty much was, you found that best gun, that's what you used,
You rolled
whatever it
with
was in the title. Sometimes you're thinking back to Black Ops 2, there was a bit of a mix. You probably had, 4 guns or so that you would mix up between rifles and subs. But now, the whole game can be turned on its head so quickly when you talk guns. You're not going to be able to just have your go-to weapon or even 2 weapons. You're going to have to be good with everything.
And we're even talking in between rounds.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, in between maps.
Yeah.
You see one player, you ban the Man of War game 1, he goes off with the XR2. It's like, do we let the Man of War come back? It's a huge gamble.
All right, well, here we go. We are ready to kick it off. It is going to be game number 2. Breach Hardpoint hopping on with Jerd. Recently moved to North America. He's been hanging with the big boys, putting on a show as of late, and starting out hot here. He picks up 2 kills.
And he's been so good with this burst submachine gun. I'm interested to see if one of the players from North America is going to adopt using it during this game. He's been crushing.
He absolutely has, and a big part of why they were able to take game number 1. You'll see, just going to blow up the map here. We're going to be moving towards the bottom. You'll see there's 3 players from the North American side in and around. They're going to be set up here trying to deal with the aggression that's going to be coming from the European players. Sharp had a player moving underneath him, able to catch him in the backside. There's the hip fire, able to clean one up, tries to turn and burn, able to get 2, and you'll see here, care package going to be ready.
Yeah, Sharp's going to have score streaks in. I love the fact, Jay, that we have score streaks back in competitive Call of Duty. I think it was such a great addition during Black Ops 2. It's so much fun. It adds so much to the game.
Well, that's the thing, right? It just adds that variety to it.
Yeah.
So where before, when everybody was very vanilla, I think.
Yeah.
And so people were concerned. But I think, as you point out, again, with all the ban and everything that you can do, I think players are going to have a good time. Especially with the score streaks, they're fun to watch.
Yeah, it added
And they
so
can
much.
change. They can change the dynamic of a map
Yeah.
And
very
just like,
quickly.
it's so much pressure. It builds this pressure. There's so much time left. When are they going to save them for? Are they going to save it for the final hard point? How are they going to use them? It's going to be absolutely a treat to watch. You saw the Vision Pulse coming out there from Jerd. Tell me a little bit about Vision Pulse.
Yeah, Vision Pulse is a great thing that allows the player to actually pulse out in the community, out into the map, where you can actually see players in between or behind items.
And then you saw
or
the
walls.
Reaper Psychosis come in, trying to break the hill, throw in those clones, and he's not able to do so. But Jerd really just putting Team EU on his back here at the early stages, Nathan.
Well, every single player is positive right now for EU. It's just this North American side can't really get going. Sharp is 6-5 leading the way. Replay struggle a little bit to him. I'm going to hop on McCrim for just a bit here. Player for Optic Gaming, one of the most talented players in the game. You mentioned earlier he has the most tournament wins of anyone. I expect that to continue in Black Ops 3. You see accurate shots coming in there. He finds a second down to the left, not able to pick that up, but you do see he's got a turret working with him here on this left-hand side.
And he loves this Vesper SMG. He was telling me pre-game, he's like, this is going to be my go-to gun. You see him just running the hill, take out 2, and just such a high rate of fire. It's going to be great around hills.
Oh, absolutely. That, again, you put that weapon in the right person's hand.
Yeah.
Destruction.
And that was, I believe, a War Machine came in and just absolutely destroyed Replays and
The War Machine's a favorite of everybody,
Yeah,
I think.
it's good fun. There's nothing about cleaning hill with that.
Yeah, it's always great to see players just bust out the War Machine, take out 2 or 3 in the hill, and it always comes in when you least expect it, right? Crim's in the hill, he takes out 2, he's probably really excited. Boom, you hear that.
Well, but again, too, like knowing when that's going to happen, you don't know when it's going to happen. So as a player, your senses are, okay, who's controlling what door, who's looking at a particular angle to really make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, and I like that there's balance to it. Does it seem like this one-shot explosive weapon is overpowered to some degree? But then when you don't carry it over, like Black Ops 2, let's say you had ammo left, you carry that over into the next spawn. Now, depending on the timing, if you pick a poor time to bust this out and you get shot and cleaned up, it's gone. It's wiped. So really, there's a lot of strategy of when to properly use these, and you've seen some really good use of it thus far in this series.
And I think players will get into a flow with that, right? And again, like you said, it's still a little bit early on. So I think, what we're seeing now today versus what we'll see in the first qualifier, you're going to see a big difference.
Yeah, very different, I think. By the time you see the Purifier coming in there,
all right.
believe that was Crim coming in behind Sharp using it. Don't know if he was able to get one, but something else of note, you can see that the time and hill stack on the right-hand side, Maven. I love that. Really shows how OBJ players affect the game.
Speaking of which, look at Jerd. rocking the hill. He's got a minute 9 to his name. He's also 9 and 6, make it 10 and 6. There's 2 more pushing him. Can he clean him up? Hit markers for days. Not able to pick it up, but does get the
He's
assist
close to
as well.
short streaks as well, so he played his life right there. Didn't want to dive into the hill. He has his ability. He has vision pulse. He gets score streaks as well. Jerd is going to be a force to be reckoned with.
And there's another assist. He did get his first score streak. He's ready to go.
You see he's going to just keep running around the hill, just taking players out, having a fantastic game. And you see on the scoreboard, nobody from Team NA going near the hill. You can blatantly see that now. Sharp's only got 6 seconds in the hill. Replays, the OBJ player just hit 10, so Study doing a brunt of the OBJ work, and you can see it's really affected him. 5 and 16. So hard being a Slayer and then being thrown into the hill.
Yeah, no, that's not where you want to be.
No, those Slayers.
Hey guys, I need some help. Where's everybody?
Yeah, you got to imagine Study. He's question, where his teammates are?
Hello.
And this is what we kind of wondered a little bit, because you have who's going to be a little overconfident coming into this. Obviously, the North American side, they're just going to run around a little more individually, just try to rack up as many kills as they can, and still think they can get the W. Whereas if you're the underdogs inside the European All-Stars, they're banding together. They're playing much more as a team, and they're absolutely crushing right now. They're up 107 points.
And you see a player like Broken, who's been over the course of Call of Duty, standstill AR Slayer. Right now, 16 and 12, 38 seconds in the hill. I mean, it doesn't look like a lot, but compared to the Slayers from North America, doing a better job at playing around the hill, playing more of a team game.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if the EU guys maybe did a little something on the North American team before they started, like, don't worry about it. Now
right? They lulled them into a false sense of confidence.
Exactly.
Now bringing it.
Yeah, right. They used different guns. Like they didn't try to use the guns they were going to prefer.
Yeah.
Their picks, their bans and protects were completely different than what they want to do once the series starts, and now they've completely caught them startled. But this is what's going to be great. We've talked about in the past the different play styles you get between European players, Australian players, and North America. I just feel like there's so many more additions to this game that these play style differences are really going to come even more obvious. And when you work your way towards champs, that is going to be one of the most exciting events of all time. I cannot wait.
Well, again, it goes with the depth, right, of the strategy that's going to be involved here. When you look at all the different weapons and the new systems that have in Black Ops 3, I think as the players get a little bit more accustomed to how it works and what you're playing against, you start playing against the other teams, you're going to know exactly what their strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah, we're going to see meta develop over the course of regions, months. I mean, something like Reaper Psychosis, where you say, maybe it's not that good in Search and Destroy. Maybe there's, an Australian or a European team out there that they have a pretty good strategy on way to use it on an offensive and defensive rounds. And I mean, we've seen over the course of history, one round can sway a game pretty quick. And you see right there, Krim with the Purifier. Jay, that thing looks beautiful.
It's so fun. It's so fun. But again, to your point, we've even seen it change over the course of the yeah.
Both going to come through torching each other. That's what you want to see.
That's great.
Kids, do not try that at home.
No.
Well, you want them to try it.
That's right.
No, seriously, play it.
Yeah.
No, that was wild, though. You see Boat just battling it out there with the Purifier. Incredible stuff coming in. I believe they actually traded that there. But look at the massive lead building up. It's now a 130-point advantage, 3:22 left on the clock, and they're just running away with this one entirely. Is there anyone you want to watch right now? Because everyone on the European side's going off.
We should stay on with Power. I mean, he had a very good game one. Game two, 24 and 14. A minute and 49 in the hill. Doing it all for
He's doing a lot of heavy lifting right there.
Just an unbelievable performance here. As I think this is pretty shocking.
I guess I could see the uplink to a degree just because we've kind of been watching that over the course of the past day or so. But the hard point, I thought this would be one where the North American roster would completely run away. I thought Krim was going to drop 700 kills typically in Game 2, but they're still lagging behind a bit. A part of that is going to be replays and Study. 9 and 21 and 10 and 26.
Well, Study's got a minute and 11 in the hill.
That's true.
He's the guy in the hill.
He's just living in there.
Yeah, he needs his teammates to surround him, just form a perimeter with assault rifles and lock it down. But Team EU, Maven, 250 to 118.
Unbelievable. I mean, what is there something that stood out for you the most? I mean, I know there's not a ton we can talk about tactically just because these aren't actual rosters. These are all-star lineups. They're out here. They're having fun. They're having a good time. This is, again, more for bragging rights. But what stood out to you was just lack of unselfish play, really, from the North American team?
For me, it's the team play. The team play from Team EU.
Okay.
I mean,
they were playing together
everything perfectly.
Absolutely.
I mean, you saw Power with the War Machine, using it at the right time. You saw Jerd using that vision pulse around the hills, able to lock it down for his teammates, just pushing them out, able to kill players around it pretty easy. Fantastic performance.
Yeah, you can see how they were all, like you said, working together, right, with the different specialist abilities. Like, I'm going to do this part. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and jump on the OBJ and get into that hard point.
It wasn't 4 people just trying to outslay the opposing team. It was 4
Right.
people working
together as a team,
using their abilities at the right time to really help each other.
Well, looking forward, game number 3 is going to be Redwood S&D. Redwood was just announced, last week? You got to see eyes on. Looks